Students, welcome to my YouTube channel NCRT Mitra. Today we are going to discuss another new topic, that is the new chapter, perhaps you can say, that is the methods of the safe disposal, and there we are going to discuss the three methods: the segregation, damping and the composting. Okay, so one by one we have to discuss this thing. Just listen, just watch this video up to the end. Okay, so first method, perhaps you know, that is the methods. Actually this is the modern day method, and most of the municipal area and the corporation area, people who are living where daily generate a huge amount of the consider waste, so that should be segregate in the, and you consider segregate from one area. Okay, segregation must be there, and if we segregate this thing in the different, you consider different container, so that is very easy to, you consider, to recycle it or reuse it. Okay, or you consider make a waste it. Okay, so this thing we have to understand. Perhaps you can understand, that is the first, you consider segregation. The waste from the residential areas, hotel and the restaurant, okay, office complex and commercial areas must be segregated, you can at the source of this different areas. So if you are running an industry, if you are running any type of you can say the hotels or restaurants, so that time that there should be a different container for the different thing. Perhaps you can see in my background paper, you can throw a paper from that in that particular container. Organic material that can be sent in that area, then plastic, okay, glass, okay, then come to the e-waste. All these things you have to send in different places. Okay, different places, so that time it is very hard to separate them, and that should be. Biochemical waste, the industrial waste must not be mixed with the municipal solids. So first thing, the biochemical waste, whatever, that should not be mixed with the municipal waste, whatever we generate. You must segregate it into the vegetable, fruits, leaves and the garden leaves, glass and the papers waste one by one. You must not lift upon in open, but kept in closed container. So that should be in the closed container which is supplied by the municipal corporation area or this area. Okay, so this thing we have to understand. In the case of the segregation, means different container must be there to divide the, or to segregate that this thing of whatever the paper, plastic, glass, okay, e-waste means the laptop, whatever, and that. So this thing we have to understand it. Okay, second method, perhaps you can see, that is the dumping method. Okay, what is dumping or the landfills method? Landfills or the dumping at the large area of the outskirts of the cities, it is away from the city area. Perhaps you can see dhaba, one of the area we have already. Okay, where the waste is deposited on or in the ground and covered with the earth. So that thing should be covered with the earth or covered with the mud or covered with the soil. Okay, and you consider, since landfill are covered, there is a minimum air pollution. But if we covered and don't burn it, okay, but the most of the municipal area try to burn it, so you just make it, cover it with the soil. So whatever the, you consider, segregated material that mixed with the after a certain time, after a course of time, that mixed with the soil. Okay, so this thing we have to understand. Landfills are the covered, there is minimum air pollution, so that's the main thing, and this is the difficult to maintain the large landfill in view of the increasing the overcrowding of the cities. So this thing, land requirements and the is cost, and it is selected for the landfill. Most of the depend in quantity and quality must be done, means that should be separate one by one, and that time we can. Accessibility must be there, but disposal area that should be near to the outskirts of the urban area or the cities area or town area, but near. Okay, so that time you can easily send it there. Cover would be there, this area of the 50 centimeter thick layer of the that should be covered. Climate of this, you can say that area climate, frequently rainfall and the weather and velocity and the wind or direction, that should be followed. Okay, but if you are keeping one area that dumping ground is there and your house is there or all the cities is there, so wind is blowing in this direction, so what happened, that all the, you can say, the smell that goes to the cities area or the town area or urban area, so that thing should be considered always. Okay, these are the main thing. Okay, in Delhi, most of the city garbage is dumped into the Okhla landform and the Tarampur plant. Okay, most of the Delhi's garbage is recycled here and used to generate the cooking gas and the electricity. What is the topography must be there considered? A large area away from the city may be used for the landfill or for the dumping ground. Okay, major problem associated with the landfill involves the contamination of the large area. That thing we have to understand. Okay, second thing you can see the leachate is the form of the when the rainwater leaks into the landfill. So there should be the percolate through the landfill and the chemical processes turn with the acidic. Sometimes our water that can be also contaminated due to this fact. Okay, due to this the landfilling. Okay, means all the water rainfall is going on and whatever the wastage is there, so penetrate and within the water and that mixed with the groundwater and that create a huge amount of problem. Okay, so this thing the main thing you have to understand a lot. Okay, household cleaner, insect spray, so there's this also can be mixed with that. Okay, a result of the toxic leaching or the leaching filter leaks with the button and the sides of the landfill and contaminates the water, drinking water that can be contaminated. Okay, so these are the main. Another serious problem you can say that the explosive method of the methane gas in the you can say the decomposed area, there is a profoundly you can say the now and then that creation of the or the development of the methane gas. And this methane gas sometimes you can see the byproduct of this decomposed chemical process, and due to this fact that can be damage of the soil. Okay, so this thing last process perhaps you can see that is the composting. Okay, composting what the compost is a biodegradable organic waste like tree leaves, okay, then the vegetables leaf, peels and the discarded food items converted into the use of the nature manure, so that can be used as the composting. Means whatever the after the segregation we are getting mainly in the papers or you can see the leaves, okay, tree leaves and vegetable peels, so these discarded food item that is mixed with the soil, that can be, and that can at a certain time or the course of time that can become the compost. Okay, compost or the composting, and that can be used for the as a fertilizer. Okay, so this thing we have to garden waste like leaves, twigs, okay, grass clippings, and you can say the fruit peels, vegetables peels, etc. that should be covered, that should be taken in that regard. Okay, process of this compositing you can say there's a decomposition of the organic waste like humans known as the compost, which as a fertilizer for the plant. So whatever we are throwing in the environment, that may be in the form of the tree leaves, in the form of the vegetable peels or the discarded food item, that is very useful for the plants. If you mix with the soil, so your soil become fertile. So this thing we have to understand. Earthworms are added in the composite. In the earthworm it should be added, and that earthworms are the you can say that this is called the friend of the farmer. So that also you can say the mixed with the some that also mixed the some chemicals and enrich the soil. Okay, and fertile the soil. So this thing we have to understand a lot. Okay, process of compositing, if you want to discuss what is the process, what are the process actually, there are two ways of making of the composition, with the oxygen in the air and with the help of the oxygen. So these are the two methods by which you can do. Anaerobic process are not developed commercially, and you can say that, and but after the receiving from the attention, as they are the require the aeration and are less prone to odor production. So if we aerobic process, if we follow the anaerobic process, anaerobic means the air that should not be filled in the air. Okay, don't bear in the air. So that time what if you keep in the open phase of this decomposed thing, so that time what happens, the smell will come. So that should not be. This process, you can see the process is biogas consisting of methane and the carbon dioxide, and biogas perhaps you know that is used in the rural area for the cooking purpose. Okay, and then the biogas can be used in the energy production as a soil conditioners superior to aerobic composite. Then come to the another thing, you can say the biogas contains 55 methane and 45 45% of the carbon dioxide. So this is the biogas. By this biogas we can produce the cow dung, that is used for the biogas. You can see the tree leaves, okay, vegetable peels and discarded food item, that is also mixed with the cow dung, and after some time that becomes, after some month, you can see the some days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that become the methane gas. Okay, it may be used directly for heating or electric power generation. It may upgrade it to 90% of the methane for the vehicular use. So for the vehicular we can use, for the running of the vehicles we can also use this thing. So these are the main thing we have to understand. Okay, aerobic composite are relative to you consider expensive and produces the bad odors and difficult to tolerate this. Okay, we cannot tolerate because the aerations, air is needed in open air. There are three types of the microorganisms are involved in the process, that the bacteria, fungi and the anti-nomatids. So these are the thing that did use, or these are used during time of the composite or making of the composting. Okay, after organic material that is accumulated, and these are microorganisms grow and they assimilate the sugar and the starch and organic acid. So this thing we have to understand at the temperature of the 60 degrees centigrade, that converted at this temperature. What we can do at this temperature, perhaps you can know, at this temperature we 60 degree temperature heating, and heat loving bacteria live in the waste and they start to work and they are decomposed slowly and mixed with the soil. Okay, and that can also make the compost, and this compost is used as a fertilizer for the growth of the plants. Okay, so this thing we have to understand a lot. Okay, what are the advantages of this? What are the main advantages? Perhaps you can know advantages. Perhaps you can see the conversion of the organic waste into the valuable fertilizer, then the reduction of the quantity of the waste to be disposed by the householder, recycling of the organic material and the nutrients back into the soil, and it is the natural waste disposal system, and compost you can see the improves the texture of the soil. So this thing we have to compost, and the aids of the plant of the growth, that can also helpful for the plant of the growth. So this thing we have to understand a lot. Then you can say another thing, perhaps you can see that is the it increases the heating, or you can say the holding the capacity of the soil, the moisture collection would be there. So these are the main thing we have to study. Okay, so this is for today. Thank you for watching this video.